My opponent has said that uniforms cost lots of money, but so do regular clothes. Yes, you have to pay more for more uniforms, but you still have to pay more for regular clothes also. You might have to get another uniform halfway through the year, but would you rather pay for one uniform or 2 pairs of jeans, 5 shirts, shoes, etc.? The regular clothes are going to cost more in the end, and uniforms will cost less. Our last really good reason why uniforms are really good for schools is that everybody wants safety. Everybody is worried about safety, from parents to the administrators to the students themselves. Schools are already taking the leap to making things safer, and uniforms should be one of the steps that schools take. Research shows that crime in some schools has dropped 91% when uniforms have been implemented. If uniforms do that, then why wouldn't you have uniforms? Kim Burke, a high school teacher who studied uniforms for 8 months, said that one day they found a kid with a loaded handgun in the school. And that's kind of scary because we don't know what that kid would have done. He could have caused a tragedy. And I feel that if you have to wear better fitting pants and a belt, and that makes it harder to hide guns or weapons, then we should do that. Some schools just can't afford metal detectors or intercoms like the ones that we have. Uniforms are cheaper and they still provide safety. If the only comfort that bullied kids have is that everybody's wearing the same clothes, then we should have uniforms. It's impossible to bully someone who's wearing the exact same thing as you, because you would be making fun of yourself, really. Safety has different meanings for some people. Some people want to be safe from bullies, others want to be safe from real weapons. Uniforms prevent bullying, and they prevent bullying about money issues if you can't afford these clothes, or sometimes kids just aren't allowed to have these nice clothes. They also protect from weapons. It's harder to hide a gun like in your pants if you have a belt and you have good fitting pants. So really, uniforms are good for everyone. The students, they get to avoid getting hurt, being bullied. The parents, they don't have to be worried about their kids getting bullied or hurt. And they also don't have to feel like they're unable to do anything. And the administrators, they don't have to worry about kids getting hurt, because when it comes down to it, the administrators would be the ones being blamed. So all in all, uniforms are really good. They're good for money issues, they're a lot cheaper, they're good for equality, everybody is dressing the same, everybody is the same, everybody's promoting the school, and there's actual focus on school instead of what everyone's wearing. If we want schools to be safer from weapons of the physical and mental kind, easier for people who are a little less fortunate, actual focus on academics, then everyone needs to adopt school uniforms.
My opponents have said that school uniforms would blur or even erase the line between rich and poor, but I disagree, because even though clothes play an important role in students' personality, the small things like jewelry are also a big part. Then it would just be my mommy buys me more expensive things than your mommy, competition. Therefore, I believe that school uniforms wouldn't affect the wealth distinction much, if at all. My teammates and I have said that school uniforms deprive students of the personality expression by creating a bland experience for everyone in schools. Students who are forced to wear school uniforms are said to be depressed and all around boring. School uniforms also infringe upon the youth's freedom of speech. It is said that school uniforms are unconstitutional and violate the First Amendment. And if any law that is unconstitutional is thrown out, we believe that school uniforms should be thrown out as well. And students are not bullied as much for the clothes they wear, such as other things, how they look. But sometimes they are even bullied online. 2 out of every 3 kids have reported being cyberbullied. We would also like to point out that school uniforms can provoke uniform minds in concerns of how students go about their learning routine. This means that students who wear uniforms are said to lack in a creative aspect and are all around bland. According to an author of an article in the Fashion Theory magazine, teens, such as the ones in Korea stated in the article, lack creativity in group and individual projects. That means that school uniforms do not help solve school problems, but instead just deteriorate the situation. The fact is, school uniforms are a useless cause and should not be adopted by schools, as it creates uniform minds. Now, as we have said, school uniforms infringe upon the students' freedom of speech, deprive students of their own independent personality expression, and provoke uniform minds of all kinds. It is quite easy to tell that school uniforms do not ameliorate a school's problems by the slightest. In fact, school uniforms create even worse problems that continue to decline. School uniforms are not a grand idea and should not be treated as such.
My opponents have said that you only wear uniforms for about 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, and that's not that much. But I disagree, because I did the math, and that's just over 52 days of wearing a school uniform per year. Also, when you think about it, the time that you see your friends the most is while you're at school. And when you're at school and you're wearing a uniform, that's how your friends are going to think of you. Therefore, I believe that school uniforms affect your image quite negatively. My opponents may say that not everyone will look exactly identical, because most schools have like 3 or 4 uniforms to choose from. But I disagree, because even if there are like 3 or 4 different uniforms, then on any given day, a quarter or even a third of the school is going to look exactly the same. Therefore, I believe that having only 3 or 4 different outfits is just about the same as having 1 different outfit.
My opponent says school uniforms conflict with the First Amendment, which is the freedom of expression. But I disagree, because in January 2001, school uniform policies won a huge victory when the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals rejected the plaintiff's argument that uniforms do not improve the academic environment, dampen students' expression, and infringe on religious rights. The court said the policy was viewpoint neutral and justified because of its substantial government interest in improving education. The court added that because the school board's purpose for implementing the uniform policy was to raise test scores and improve student behavior, it in no way served to suppress student speech. Therefore, uniforms do not conflict with the First Amendment. My opponent also said students should wear what they want and express themselves, but I disagree. School is a place for learning. Students do not need to dress promiscuous or like slobs or wear tight shirts, short shorts, and baggy jeans. Do you really want to show off your school by wearing those types of clothing? School is a place for learning, and it's time we dress like it.